this video is going to be a tad bit different. Also, guess what I bought? I bought this, but I can't actually use it yet because I didn't realize that I need to get an adapter to plug it into my phone. But progress there is being made. I've been working a lot this month and doing school, so it's a lot going on in my head. But I wanted to film a video that I actually like talking about. So in case you guys didn't know, it's about me. One of my favorite topics to talk about is really fucked up moments in history. I have a whole list on my phone of different things that I want to talk about. This felt like, oh, peanut. This felt like something that I could get away with. I mean, I know it's medical cannibalism, but it felt a little bit more tame than like the human syphilis experiment. So we're gonna talk about medical cannibalism today because I recently, so there was a corpse floating around Twitter. I don't remember exactly which culture she was from, but it was not European, and people made a comment like, oh, why are all the dead bodies that are found, why do they all have to be people of color? And I remembered this, and I was like, oh, you guys don't even know. I might kick him out. What are you doing? Causing a disturbance. That's what he's doing. But yeah, I will be linking all of my sources in the description. I'm not gonna like cite them, I'm just gonna link them. Also, I have a Google Doc. Yes, there is a band-aid on my camera because I'm nuts. Not really, but you know what I mean. Get a little nervous sometimes. But yeah, I made a Google Doc, so I'm gonna be reading off of this. Before the 15th century, a lot of cannibalism was either survival cannibalism, which is like when you're on an expedition and you have to eat your crewmates because you're gonna die, or lots of colonizers used the term cannibal to dehumanize the people that they were colonizing. Europe, I think during its prime time, medical cannibalism was primarily done by Europeans, French people, Italians, and Germans. That's like the core four. So I'm going to talk about some fun facts, and then we're going to talk about what each thing was like used for. People believed that medical cannibalism worked because the spirit linked the body and the soul, so they thought that blood carried the soul. So if someone died and you drank their blood, you were consuming their soul, and their soul was thought to fix your soul. So they believed that, this is Europe, by the way, it was believed that the blood holds all the bad spirits. In case if you've seen American Horror Story, that's what we're talking about here. When public executions happened, it was very common for people to go up and drink the blood. But when royal executions happened, people went even more nuts because royal spirits were believed to be even more, like, they had more worth in them. So here's a fun fact: when King Charles I died, the executioner actually sold bloody chunks of his hair, and he made fucking money off of it. But, okay, so 15th century Europeans, they would steal mummies from Egypt, and then they would grind down their flesh, and they would put it in drinks, or they would eat it straight. Yeah, just a lot of consumption of mummified human flesh. But when the demand was too big for these Egyptian mummies, people actually stole from, they grave robbed. And this went on for like hundreds of years. It started in the 15th century, that's roughly. But it was actually listed in the Merck Index, which was a medical encyclopedia, into the 20th century. Yeah, so physicians believed that the blood was best if the person that they were taking it from had died violently. I don't know why. It doesn't specifically say why, they just did. Okay, so now we're gonna go over what the different things were used for. So blood in liquid form or powder was used for epilepsy, but human liver, gallstones, and the oil from brains and hearts were also popular. Yeah, chemists believed that if you drank blood, it kept epilepsy away. Like, this wasn't just like, by the way, this happened with like the bourgeoisie and the working class, but this wasn't just a rich person's thing. I mean, like, it was definitely more of a rich person's thing because they had resources, but this wasn't just some like nuts thing that rich people do. This was like a commonly believed thing. Like, chemists believed this. So powdered blood would help with bleeding. I don't know how that makes sense, but like if you had a cut, they would like put powdered blood, or like a nosebleed. If you had a nosebleed, they'd like put powdered blood up your nose. Human fat helps with bruising, and skulls, I'll go into that in a second, it could help with migraines or dizziness. So skulls was a whole thing. Europeans, it said, in one of the articles that I read, it said that some of the skulls were stolen from Ireland. They were Irish skulls. They would powder down the skulls, and they would it could be used for bloody noses, fatigue, or the plague. There was also skull moss, which is where when people would find like a skeleton that was left outside, like moss would be growing on it, and people would take the moss off the skull, and they would put it in stuff. And there is documented skull moss usage as late as 1890 in London. And also rich people did this. They would put powdered skulls in chocolate, and they would eat the chocolate. Just in case if you wanted to know that. Human fat was also a valued remedy, and it was rubbed on skin to ease the pain, and it would help with bleeding or bruising. Sorry, I combined those words. And it could be used in the form of plasters. Isn't that great? There was also, I thought that this was fun. In 1847, there is a documented proof of an Englishman making a candle out of human fat that he believed would have magical properties. So, Wiccans, get on that. Get on the human fat candle. Sounds like a good idea to me. And in 1908, the last known attempt of medical cannibalism was in Germany, and someone was swallowing blood. That was like the last documented attempt. Is that the word that I'm supposed to use? Attempt at medical cannibalism was in 1908 in Germany with swallowing blood. Also, in New Guinea, it was a common tradition for, in funerals, family members would eat the deceased. And this was known as a way to honor the body, but it actually just ended up spreading the deadly disease Kuru, which is K-U-R-U. Yeah, I was reading an article by the Smithsonian, if I could not talk stupid for a second, and the final paragraph, which I thought was really interesting, so I'm just going to read it. Yeah, I'm citing this. Don't flag me for plagiarism. Can you tell that I'm a college student who is currently working on a research paper and not writing the research paper and writing whatever the fuck I want to write because I can? So yeah, I'm just going to read out this final paragraph because I couldn't paraphrase this to make it better. So, this is not to say that we have moved on from using one human body to heal another. Blood transfusions, organ transplants, and skin grafts are all examples of the modern form of medicine from the human body. But yeah, isn't that interesting? I thought because the idea that like blood transplants and like skin grafts and shit could come from medical cannibalism, it's something to think about, you know? Anyways, this was pretty much just me talking about things that I like to think about. So if you want to see more of these kind of videos, let me know, because I actually enjoyed, because I knew about it, I just didn't know like the facts. So I had to gather the facts, and I put them in a Google Doc. But yeah, so I really enjoyed making this, and I'd like to make more videos like this. So let me know what you think, and I hope you have a good day, and goodbye.